All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And I just wanted to quickly do a lesson. There's a brother on the comment board who put up a comment a few days back, so I took a screenshot of it. I just wanted to use it in a video. This is from a brother called a Crazy Faith. He put up Revelation 21:4. It says, "And Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." Right, and that's that's a faith booster right there, man. Oh, which real quick, that cuts these characters in the Sicarii, right? What is that? The Israelite group that calls themselves the Sicarii. Y'all should know who that is, right? If you haven't been living under a rock. Inside joke. But Sicarii teaches that in the kingdom, right after the kingdom's established, they teach that the elect are gonna die after 1,000 years, is what Sicarii teaches. But that can't be true. That can't be true, because it says in this text here that that death is gonna pass away. Look at that. It says, "And there shall be no more death." So wait a second. That cuts Sicarii's doctrine, teaching that the elect live for 1,000 years in the kingdom, but then they die and are like reincarnated or something like that. They call it 1,000-year lifespans in the kingdom. That's a bunch of BS, man. The scriptures say that the elect are going to have everlasting life, man. Right? So I don't know where the hell these guys are getting these these doctrines of devils from, man. Right? Hey, look, those guys are teaching another Jesus is what Sicarii's teaching, man. Like, I'll give an example. They're on there talking about how, Apostle Paul's writings are not inspired of the Most High. It's like, what the hell are these guys talking about? That Paul's writings are not inspired. All you got to do is read, what is that? 1 Corinthians 14:37. Where all things that I write unto you are from the inspiration of the Most High. Nearly paraphrasing it. Okay, but it says that all things I write unto you are from the inspiration of the Most High. Right, now I do agree that there are certain, parts in Paul's writings where he gives his own opinions on certain topics. I'll give an example. What is that? 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. He gives his opinion on it and says, for this example, he says, it's good if a man doesn't touch a woman. Right? That would be a good thing for a man to stay away from a woman. That's what Paul did. Right? Paul didn't, have a wife. But, that was his opinion. He was talking as a man now. Okay, that doesn't mean what he teaches is not inspired of the Most High, because it certainly was inspired of the Most High. 1 Corinthians 14:37. Right? Go read that. Okay, but, they'll be on there and say, oh, well, Paul's writings are not the word of the Most High. The hell are these guys talking about, man? As I said, man, you gotta be careful, man, because a lot of guys, seem sincere, but then you find out that they don't really know what's going on, man. And that's just what it turns out. At the end of the day, those guys, don't know what's going on. Okay, but going back to the scripture, that's the uplifting scripture, man. All right, because if you go to, what is that, Matthew the 19th chapter, the apostles asked Christ, what are we going to receive, for, laying ourselves to the side on this side, putting our, our desires to the side to uplift the ministry, what are we going to get in reward, for doing those things? And Yahweh Shai told him that, hey, look, if you do that, for me, you're going to receive salvation and you're going to receive everything back 100%. Right? And guess what? They're also going to get what? Everlasting life. Right? You hear that, Sicarii? It says everlasting life. Go read it. Not 1,000-year lifespans. So that's a bunch of nonsense, man. Where the hell's that at in the scriptures? Scriptures clearly say the elect live forever, man. The everlasting life without end. Okay, not 1,000 years and then reincarnated and brought back again. How are these guys getting this from? That's not in the scriptures. Right? That's nowhere in the scriptures. You got these guys on the comment board, man. You know, they'll just repeat it because they heard Sicarii say it. They heard, you know, Deacon and Facade, right? They heard Deacon and Facade, you know, say that. You know, so they'll just gobble it down and repeat it because that's what someone else said. You know, same things that Christians do. Oh, it's not that which goes in the mouth that defiles the man, but that what comes out. So see, you can eat whatever you want. It's like, well, wait a second. Just go to, what's their quote in Matthew, the 15th chapter? All you got to do is go to verse 2. It said that the whole conversation was about, you know, eating with unclean hands, right? Eating food without washing your hands after you, let's say, you worked, right? Or after you used a restroom, right? And that's why if you go to certain restaurants like McDonald's or, you know, Hungry Jack's, right? Hungry Wax, an inside joke. Shout out to anybody who's seen Racka Racka before, right? Hungry Jack's or, you know, Wendy's or, you know, Popeyes, or, you know, the list could go on and on. When you go into the restaurant and in the restrooms, you'll see on the wall or on the back of the door, there's a sign in there, and it says that employees must wash hands before returning back to, you know, their work, right? Returning back to, you know, their whatever they're doing, whether it be cooking, whether it be, you know, handling the, you know, cash register or whatever they're doing, they have to, you know, wash their hands beforehand. Okay, so that goes back to this, right? Christ was simply, you know, saying, hey, look, it's not that what goes in the mouth that defiles the man, but that what comes out. So he wasn't saying that you can go eat a mouse sandwich or a, you know, ham. He was saying that the germs that go in your mouth don't defile you because they go through the body and the immune system fights them off. Okay, that's why if you get sick, you know, your body was infected by something, which I gotta watch what I say. But you know, the immune system fights it off. So you might be down 2-3 days, but then you get back up again, right? And then you're now made whole again. Right? So Christ was referring to eating and, you know, without washing your hands in that chapter. He wasn't talking about eating whatever the hell you want. And that's what these Christians will say, man. Going way the hell off with what they're saying. And that's how they deceive the simple, man. Or read that verse like Ridge Napper, which he haven't even read one book of the Bible, but yet he wants to come on there and try to debate the Bible, which is ironic. But he'll sit there and tell you, oh, no, you can eat it whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want today. Ask him, well, where does it say that? He'll quote that scripture I just mentioned. It's like, well, wait a second. The context of the verse. Just go to verse 2. It says that the whole context was about eating without washing your hands. So, I mean, what the hell are these guys talking about, man? And that's why, as I said, you know, you got to be diligent about who you're listening to, man. You know, you can't be listening to GMS, you know, Sicarii, LUIC, ISUPK, you know, Sons of Thunder, you know, One Body in Yahushai, you know, the Mind of Golf, inside joke. But you can't be listening to everyone. You know, pick 1 or 2 camps and go with them. Hey, if you want to ask me, hey, look, I'll watch Sicarii, GMS, you know, the Mind of Golf, and ETT. Stick with those, man. Right? Stick with those couple. Right? GMS and Sicarii are fair. Right? GMS, I have much respect for the Apostles of Great Millstone and the elders, most certainly. And even, you know, Sicarii with, you know, Alizé, right? Guerrilla Hebrew, Facade, you know, Hassad, you know, Deacon, or as we call him, Deacon. You know, I got respect for them, right? Those brothers, I hope they do make it onto the chariots, man. But I hope that all the brothers in these other camps make it, But I hope that all of them receive salvation. And I'll always say that, right? I will always, say that we hope that all these, people, make it. Okay. But at the end of the day, there's certainly things that they're in error of not knowing. Okay. So, hey, they're at error of not knowing the scriptures. Okay. But certain things they give can certainly be correct. Like I'll give an example. I was listening to a documentary that a pastor did on the Inca stones, which are basically prehistoric stones. When I say prehistoric, I mean like 1,000-year-old stones. I mean, they're not necessarily prehistoric, but I mean we'll say they're old, for lack of better words, right? But these old stones called the Inca stones that they found that are roughly 1,000 years old, that depict humans and dinosaurs on them. And there's thousands, I believe there's 30,000 stones, if I'm not mistaken. You can look that up. But, on the stones, they depict humans and dinosaurs. He was doing a hour-long presentation on it, and he was, proving with very good evidence, not just the stones, he was showing pottery and, ancient temple artwork that we still have around today, and stories throughout history of dinosaurs to prove that dinosaurs did cohabitate with humans, which is certainly correct. That is correct. The dinosaurs and humans coexisted with each other. And dinosaurs are in the scriptures. Just read Job, the 40th chapter. But where he went off, as he brought up, he made a mention of Bel and the Dragon, which is a book from the Apocrypha. And he used that to say, oh, we'll see what dragons are also mentioned in the Bible. But then he made a little remark and said, well, yeah, the Apocrypha, you can get some good information from it, but it's not necessarily inspired text of the Most High. I'll say that again. He said, you can go to the Apocrypha, read it and get some good information from it on some topics, but the Apocrypha is not the inspired word of the Most High, is what he said. So then I thought to myself, well, wait a second. How the hell can the Apocrypha not be the inspired word of the Most High if Christ himself quoted directly from the Apocrypha? Just read, what is that, 2nd Ezra's chapter 1 and verse 30, and that correlates with Matthew chapter 23 and verse 37, right? Christ literally quoted the exact same thing. And then also, another good one, if you go to, what is that, 2nd Maccabees, the 7th chapter, the 7 brothers who were killed for not eating swine's flesh, right? The king tortured those men for not eating swine's flesh when he commanded them to. So they were, killed in brutal ways. But what people don't know is that there's a mention made of them in the book of Hebrews, the 11th chapter. It doesn't mention them by name, but it mentions that there were some men who were brutally, tortured and put to death in certain ways that literally match with what we read in 2nd Maccabees, the 7th chapter. So there's no other account in the Bible that could fit the description given in Hebrews, the 11th chapter. I believe it's the 35th verse or around that area if you want to go read it. You'll find it in there, though, near the end of the chapter, I believe. But there's no other story that fits other than 2nd Maccabees 7. So that's just 2 proofs. Or what about, I'll give you another one. Hey, look, ETT be spitting verses left and right, man. I mean, who the hell can do this on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Minor Golf can't do that because he's sitting in front of a computer. I'm not bashing the brother. He's cool. But anyway, what about if you go to, what is that, 2nd Ezra's, the 2nd chapter? It speaks about the elect, how they were arrayed in white robes and they had palms in their hands. But that's literally the exact same thing that John the Revelator saw in Revelation, the 7th chapter. It literally was the exact same thing. He mentioned they had white robes and palms in their hands. Both men mentioned the same thing, but the Apocrypha was written before the New Testament. So one must, by logical deduction, say that the writers of the New Testament got inspiration from the Apocrypha. Therefore, undeniably proving that the Apocrypha is inspired. No way around it. right? There's no way around that, man. Okay, so I just wanted to just do a quick video on that, right? Because I thought there was a, beautiful verse that the brother put up, man. Because it cuts certain of these doctrines like Sicarii teach about the elect dying after 1,000 years, which is totally incorrect. Okay, so I just wanted to read that real quick, and I'm going to say shalom.